Hello, 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 and welcome to the Full Quota Podcast. My name is Mpho Mkhwane. I've got the full crew here, the full quota. We normally run with a full quota of 4 guys, and then normally whenever guests we have a 5th, but it's a full quota. That's what it's called. You need to decide a quota of what. It is your South African cricket podcast on Guerrilla SA and also on One World Sports Radio, onewsr.com. So please do send through your comments and your questions, and also please follow us on these various platforms. You can interact with us on these platforms. We've got matches, we've got games, but most importantly, the one at the bottom, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll even put up a banner to remind you to like and subscribe. So this week's a very interesting week in South African cricket. The one issue that let me not say issue. Interesting week in South African cricket because we got to Ireland. South Africa have only played a handful of games, if not at all, in Ireland. And with the first game against Ireland was rained out, the ODI, because we've moved from T20s. Now we're going to ODIs. And this was supposed to be, for me, the plan, the pathway, the panacea for us to see what the road to 2023 is going to look like. Temba Bavuma's first ODI series as captain. We're going to get to see a little bit more and maybe see some of the guys who were benched in the West Indies. It didn't work out that way this week. We ended up having it rained out. And lo and behold, the worst case scenario happened with us losing to an Irish side who are ready for us. Now, my biggest problem about the loss, and this is where the question is going to come, is that I watched this Ireland side and I was like, on paper, they're very limited. Lots of spinners, some fast bowlers that are trying to make their way in the game. They're very top heavy, a top order, very strong, similar to South Africa. Lots of runs in that top order. Middle to lower order, there's some power hitters, but they're not going to worry you. And South Africa shouldn't be too worried. However, somehow we end up in a situation where we've lost the game. And now we're worried because, and I'm going to say this to everyone, it is going to be 12 months. We've got another year until we figure out who's going to be the final 8 teams in that Super League. But if you look at that ICC Cricket World Cup Super League log, we found ourselves in position 11. Ireland, on the other hand, find themselves somewhere very beautiful in the echelons of that top 8. So now, my biggest issue with the loss, and that's where it comes in, is that I looked at this team and was like, they have no plan. What's the plan going forward with this team in terms of playing games? Because I've always understood from the 2019 World Cup, because we got beaten left ways to Sunday in the 2019 World Cup, that you need to be able to consistently score 300 runs in an ODI. So 290 wasn't too bad with the talent we have. That should be okay. We've got enough overs to do this, and somehow we didn't get there. And there was no blueprint for me to see how this team was ever going to go score 200 or 300 consistently. The bowlers, less said about those final 10 overs, the better, because God, I don't even know what the plan was there. Somehow we forgot to bowl Yorkers and win short and wide. And we now found ourselves with a captain asking these bowlers to either ship up or shape up or ship out. He's been saying, maybe it's time to see the other guys. So that's why I'm here with you guys to ask you these questions, because I am very confused right now as to the type of cricket we're playing. We've played about 5 ODIs in the Super League, and we've only won 1. We've lost 3, and we've had 1 no result. What's going on? Should we be worried? I, for one, am very worried because early doors, this does not look promising. But let me start with Tim. Tim, are you worried?
In isolation, on a one-off game, no. I'm not worried in that sense. Over the last 2 years, since the World Cup, I'm very concerned. I agree. I don't actually see a plan here. And I also see there's a huge problem in the fact that we are not picking people that we can ill afford not to pick. Now, we can maybe debate that on a separate day, but we're not England. We cannot afford to have 11 new guys come in and they'll do brilliantly. We can't afford to go to the World Cup without the quality players of Faf du Plessis, Imran Tahir, Chris Bowes. We cannot afford to go to that World Cup as things stand without those guys. I know in all probability, only one of those guys might be there, but I'm hugely worried. The death bowling has been a problem for 2 years. It's been a problem for 2 years. Now, what is the problem? Is it the coaching? Is it the players that are not listening? I heard Mark Boucher say after the West Indies series, they were asked him about the Yorkers, he said, it's an ego thing. Bowlers don't like to get hit for 4. Well, either you bowl the Yorker or I don't pick you. We have to be hard now. And I'm very worried going forward with things at the moment. This team's a little bit, it's too inconsistent.
That's the word. That's the word. I'm going to hold on to that. Inconsistent. Temp, I want to come to you. You in our WhatsApp groups have been on the side of the team. You're saying no, it's an implementation thing. It's not necessarily a planting. The plan is there. So I'd like for you to, obviously, I'm assuming you're not worried unless if you've in the last 24 hours you've become worried. But just outline what you think the plan of the Proteas is, and also why we shouldn't be worried.
How's it, everyone? First of all, nice to be here again. I'm not worried. I think there's a clear plan. We've been seeing it. It's the 6-5 splits. We might not be fans of the plan, but we can't say that the plan's not there. It might not be the right plan. Mark Boucher is basically saying, batsmen, you do what batsmen do. You need to do the job for us. And bowlers, you need to do the job for us. Either restrict bowlers we're expecting them to restrict teams to under 300, or at least restrict teams to a score that our batting lineup can reach. And I mean, we have the bowling capabilities to do that. Quality bowling all round. So yeah, for me, it's just a matter of execution. And what bothers me, like at this moment, why I'm a little annoyed is because why are we throwing the toys out the cot now? Like, we just had a pretty decent, not a decent series, a fantastic series in the West Indies. We were showing a lot of promise. And then we go to Ireland where conditions, number one, were a bit different. Rained out in the first game. The second game, guys, for those that aren't in South Africa, the country is going through the most at the moment. There are riots, looting, there's mad things going down in the country. And for me, the performance that we saw on Tuesday was a performance of Proteas that weren't in the game. They weren't focused. The catches that were dropped were the first catch from Aiden Markram in the slips in his hands. He tried to juggle it, couldn't get it the second time. David Miller, the same thing, literally at point in his hand, and then he couldn't gather it the second time. So there were 4 drop catches before we actually took our two catches that we took. And for me, had we taken those catches, and I mean, they went to safe hands, Nochal, it was Aiden Markram and David Miller. I mean, Aiden Markram dropped one in the previous game, but it's not like you have a 100% catching record. But the plans were they were the right plans. We would have restricted them for under 250 easily if we were just on points, if we were just focused. Once again, when it comes to death bowling, guys, you need to be so focused to execute that Yorker. You miss that length by a little bit and you're sent to the fence. I'm saying that margin for error, that margin is basically, I'm putting it down to a lack of concentration. And I mean, when you're seeing the scenes in the country, that's where I think the concentration went. So to answer your question, why am I not worried? Because we showed promise in the West Indies series. The fielding was sharp in the Test and the T20s. And now the fielding is bad for one game and we're already losing our minds like, oh, these guys have always been bad. It was just one game. It was just one game.
So, but one question from me. You mentioned the 6-5 split. The bowlers have to try and restrict them under 300. Is there a target that this team cannot get? This 6 batsmen.
Is it? Well, obviously, there's a target this team can't get. Apparently, it's 291. Jokes. No, I'm joking. But I don't know. I don't know how
Because
you expect me to answer that question because I mean,
okay, so
350 is
here's
also
my
a target
question.
that's
So coming
yes,
into this island tour, because we're going to
yes.
play ODIs, my thing was, having seen them over the past 2 years, was we need a clear plan in the batting to score 300. That's the reason why I am so worried, because there is no clear plan. There is no. So under Russell Domingo, it was, and I'll explain it to you. So as we get, so under Russell Domingo in the 2015 World Cup, he said, I don't want to lose wickets in the first 15 overs. So the first 15, we need to make sure that we go through that initial power play and not lose enough wickets, and then build from there going forward. When our friend Otis Gibson came in, he said, you double your score at 30 overs, so I need you to hold your wickets. The top order, you can't lose more than 2 wickets in the 30th, by the 30th over, maybe even was a third wicket. And then after that, you need to be able to double your score. So your batsmen need to then take the game away from the opposition in that position. And so both of those coaches in those World Cups, we were able to benchmark how well this team was doing based on what we've been told. Out of this camp, we haven't been told that. All we've been told is we want to play like England. We want to be aggressive. And so watching yesterday, when David Miller and Carl Vernon, 2 days ago, when Carl Vernon and David Miller were batting, they needed to bat about until over 45 to give us a chance. But somehow, somewhere, they were losing their wickets. And throughout that top 6, it felt that everyone was trying to find the boundary ball. So my question was, and maybe you can help me, is there a plan around that? Because I don't see a structure to structure the overs.
Okay, so in terms of answering that question, I'm not really sure of the one-day international structure, but I do want to ask, or at least I did see a clear plan with the T20s in the West Indies, where they basically had plans to attack certain periods of the game. Obviously, you're not asking about T20s now, but then my question to you is, when did Russell Domingo and Otis Gibson make these plans clear? And I'm talking about in the World Cup cycle. If the World Cup is 2023, then did they make their plans clear, 2 years before that? Did they make their plans clear? Because for me, when I found out about I wasn't a journalist, so obviously I didn't know, but when I found out about Otis Gibson's plans for the staying in before, that was literally in 2019, the year of the World Cup, when things need to be super duper clear. If we're talking about preparation for the World Cup happening, not even next year, the year after that, why aren't we talking about how we're using this time to prepare for the T20? I saw this one-day international not as prepping for 2023, like we need to have 90% of the plan clear now. I saw it as an opportunity for the likes of Yanaman Malan and Carl Verena to get a run out, and then we take ourselves seriously in the T20s, because the T20 World Cup is literally around the corner. So that's why I'm not too worried about these one-day international results. We'll be able to make this back. The loss in points that we had here, we'll able to make it back. I've been a student for a long time. This is basically just procrastination. This is pure procrastination. We're going to get the job done later on. So I'm not too worried about the one days.
So South Africa looking to get that sub, that 45 that's required there. Chris, let me bring you in here. Are you worried, first of all? But also, what did you see in that first game that you weren't comfortable with?
I guess I'm worried about maybe the direction we're going in as a whole, but I don't think this game needs to be the catalyst or the wake-up call. Although it was, by definition, I guess, an upset, it wasn't a shocking one. We obviously came into this game resting a couple of players. It seemed like we didn't have the clearest plans, and a lot of things did go right for Ireland. And Ireland aren't a bad team. I know there've been jokes about, I didn't even know Ireland played cricket. Ireland have been working their way up. They're obviously a test nation. They're 12th in the world in the ODI rankings. We've lost to worse teams, and Ireland have beaten better teams than the South African team in the past. I don't think this in itself is it's not a wake-up call or anything like that. It's just a symptom of where we are at the moment. And I think Zeppel's right that maybe we didn't have as clear of a plan as we had when we were in the West Indies. It does seem like we came into this series and the ODIs were just sort of we can experiment a little, we can give some guys a run, and then maybe we're trying to execute some plans in the T20s. And it is unfortunate now that we've lost this game, and it does count in the Super League, that maybe we don't have that same room for experimentation anymore. We want to win the game tomorrow. We can't keep.
But Chris, with the 11 they put out, wouldn't that 11 be good enough to beat Ireland? I think my biggest, obviously, the other issue is obviously the way in which the team came out. They were very flat, and I just don't somehow in a game of 100 overs how guys can't just, especially in that first portion, it's 50 overs, how someone can't be like in the first drinks break, guys, wake up. We need you to wake up. So I'm not too sure. Yeah, that was my observation.
Yeah, the team, the 11 is an 11 that's good enough to beat Ireland maybe 9 times out of 10, and this was the one. It's not a team that's going to beat Ireland every time, and a lot of things did go right for Ireland. As Steph was saying, there were 4 drop catches. That's a massive game changer, especially with a team that depends so much on that top order, and then the top order was able to set a stage for guys to have a bit of a swing later on. Every batsman had a good innings.
And a final one with you. So with this Super League, right? So we're going to play 6 teams, 6 countries, 3 times. So there'll be 18 games that need to be played. And so South Africa are currently in this Ireland series. The next one, the teams that South Africa are set to play are Australia away, from home. They're set to play India. Well, they were supposed to play India away from home. That's probably going to be rescheduled because of the World Cup. Then this was the other away series. They've played Pakistan already, and then they're supposed to play Sri Lanka away, England at home, Bangladesh at home, and Netherlands at home. So it's actually 24 games. So this series kind of was, for me, looking at it, and I'm gonna was one of those where you kind of had to you have to win to go up. But obviously there's Bangladesh, there's Netherlands. Obviously we can't be taking those teams lightly, but we do need to find some sort of a rhythm going into the World Cup, because if you don't make it in, you don't qualify. And that was just to Tempo's point for making it back. Let's talk about the personnel before we go on to the birthday game. Tim, you've been doing some analysis in the background about the openers and some of the all-rounders. The big question South Africa has right now is who opens with Quinton de Kock. One man's had about 34 games, another one's got about 5. What's your thinking around that? Because I've got a person I want to open, but what's the person that you think you should open?
I think at the moment, you have to give Yanam Malan a proper run. Yanam Malan scored runs against Pakistan recently when he was asked to play when Risa Hendricks was out. He scored runs again yesterday, both times against spin bowling, which is his weakness. He's answered the call. He averages 76. He hits the ball cleanly. We're on the same length. You would think that, you show the stats here, Markham has played 31 matches, average of 26, and he's struggling. You can see the way he's played in the last couple of games. He's struggling for form. He's trying to force the issue, whereas Jan Malan is the in-form player. Before the series, I would have said Markham, but I think now Jan Malan must be given a proper run.
One game, Tim. Change your mind. One game.
I've seen enough in ODIs to tell you that Aiden.
I'm asking Tim. I know that you're not an Aiden Markham fan, Umpo. I'm chatting to Tim here. One game changed your mind, Tim.
Wait. Markham, in his last 5 ODIs, averages 20.
Shout out.
That's bad enough.
Guys, all I will say to you, Tips, is look at that 100/50 column. This man, Yanaman, has already scored 3 scores above 50.
Yeah.
in 5 innings, he didn't bat in 1. And he's also had a duck in the other. Whereas AIDS in 31...
AIDS.
No, but that's his nickname, AIDS. Yeah, in
okay.
31 matches. Yeah, and this was the problem I had going to the 2019 World Cup. These numbers have not improved since then.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't think we've played a lot of ODIs. For me, I think him and Riza had similar matches played by the World Cup in 2019 and similar averages. And I think Aiden had that incredible season with the Titans when I then called him a domestic bully, which I think many people thought I was being unfair. But in this conversation, Quinton de Kock's coming in probably on Friday. Who do you select between the two? Because we know Temba's not been dropped.
I'd also choose Yanaman Malan, quite frankly. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. I'm not sure I would say that Aiden Markram has been struggling for form recently. I wouldn't be pressed to say that. But I don't think the opening partnership is our main concern. I think the lower order misfiring is our actual main concern.
We're gonna get there. Tim's done some stats.
So for here, I'm fine. I'm fine. Yanaman Malan, he's deserved his spots. I'm actually very happy to see him there in the 1 days. So yeah, may we live long and see Yanaman do his things.
Chris, how many games do you want to give Yanaman Malan at the top going forward in ODIs?
I mean, that all depends on how he performs. I don't think you decided. What if I say 10 and he scores 100 in every game? And I say, no, well, he's got his 10 and now he's done. It very much depends on how he actually performs in those games. But I think he can be the opener for the foreseeable future. I also need someone to explain to me at some stage exactly why Aiden Markram isn't able to step it up a level, because he is so good for the Titans. Everything seems to be there. And I thought if he gets his extended run in the Proteas, he's just suddenly going to click. And I can't figure out why it's not happening. I don't know what's different about it.
And that's why I think the first game being rained out is a little bit tough, because Aiden coming out of the West Indies on form, 2021's looking good for him. He's got a new mindset. He's left all the struggles behind. We hadn't played against England because I think maybe against England, he probably would have gotten an opportunity to bat. So I do think it's a little bit harsh to say you want to drop Aiden Markram, but because of the limited number of opportunities now on this tour, one more ODI, because Aiden's playing in the T20s, like that's no brainer. I think it's time to give Yanaman an opportunity. And in ODIs going forward, maybe in the India tour later in the year, if you still want to play Quinton, Yanaman should be given more of an opportunity. It's just one of those situations where timing is not on Aiden's side. Now, here's another thing that... Yes, Chris?
I was just going to say, I mean, it's not guaranteed Quinton's going to play the next game. I'll imagine he does. But we also don't know that it's one of the openers that are going to go out for him. It seems like Kyle Verreynne gets messed around a little bit. He's got a much longer career ahead of him. He's the youngest batsman in that side. There's a chance Verreynne goes out, de Kock comes in at the wicketkeeper, and some combination of Malan, Markram, and de Kock are our top 3 tomorrow.
But then Temba batting at 4 is a little bit tough. But
no, I don't back that. I would rather see Aiden Markram in the lower order. Like what happened after Heinrich Klaassen had his lack of form, and we slotted him in there. He got 20 of 20. It wasn't quick fire, but it was 20 runs and was a lot more than anyone else.
Here's the one thing about this Heinrich Klaassen argument. Heinrich Klaassen in ODIs is no scrub. He's actually quite good. And I think, and I think we were talking about it on commentary the other day, David Miller looks like a guy who needs rest. I say drop David Miller tomorrow. And if you're gonna bring Quinton, maybe Aiden can grab a rest. But I wouldn't mind seeing Heinrich Klaassen bat at 6. I think he's a much better batsman coming in at over 35. I'm now imposing my plans onto Mark Boucher, but I'm assuming at over 35, I need someone to score me 120 runs with somebody else. So I'm going to bring Heinrich Klaassen in there and see what he can do. Because I remember there was that pink ODI where he wasn't supposed to play, and then he had tickets and he played, and he bossed the back end with Chris Morris. So maybe that's an opportunity for tomorrow for him, because he's probably also traveled and not gotten a lot of games. Speaking about...
Just to jump in there, I think... Continuing with the David Miller thing, maybe not necessarily to drop him, because I mean his numbers are fantastic, but I remember Quinton de Kock in 2018 before the World Cup. He also had a terrible run. Was not 2018, 2015, sorry, a terrible run of form. Then South Africa dropped him. He played some SAA games, came back, and he was a lot better. So maybe David Miller just needs time outside the side, and Heinrich Klaassen at the back end would be the apt replacements.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of moving Rassie around. I want Rassie as my number 4 in ODIs. I think Rassie's earned it. And so I think the other option, and I'm going to ask you, Tim, Aiden batting behind Rassie. So Aiden back coming in at 5 and Kyle at 6. Does that work?
It's possible. I'm open to giving Aiden a different idea. As I say, my main focus here is the ODI cricket. So I don't want anyone get any ideas that I want Aiden out of the team. Aiden,
we're talking ODIs this week.
I want him in the T20s. It's just his one-day form does concern me. That's all. But I'm open for 4 or 5 if that is, that's something I would be okay with.
Another man whose form has come into question is that of Andile Phehlukwayo. Watching him in that match batting, I was really I had so much sympathy for him because he hasn't played a lot of cricket. He's been on the bench for pretty much all the series that they've played, and coming out to bat at number 7 seemed like a position too high. Looking at our all-rounders, Tim, and I'm going to start with you. You did some stats, and I'm going to just put them up here. Please take us through what you were thinking and what your conclusions are looking at our 3 all-rounders, that being Dwayne, Chris, and also Andile.
Okay, so I saw that we are a little bit disjointed between the top order and our tail. We need a solid middle order. So I was looking at Andile's stats for the last 2 years, Morris for the last 2 years up until the 2019 World Cup, and Morris for his career. So they each played a similar amount of games. And if you look at the numbers do not lie. The numbers in terms of batting are a huge concern. South Africa need a batting all-rounder in this sphere at the moment.
What's the average, Tim, that you think our bowling or seam bowling all-rounder or an all-rounder should be trying to aim at in this format?
25 plus.
Okay.
25 plus.
So Andile makes the cut. Based on
Chris Morris doesn't, and neither does Dwayne Pretorius.
But Dwayne's... But if you look at this, Dwayne's only played 10 innings, so it's slightly disjointed because I know Dwayne's a much better batsman.
His T20 numbers are fantastic.
His first class numbers are fantastic. Yes, Tim.
You also look at the Chris Morris strike rate. You know that Chris Morris is going to come in there and he's going to score 10 of 2 balls. And he has the potential to score big runs. The other point, which isn't here, the other point is here, there is a misconception that Chris Morris is a rather expensive bowler. And these stats show that he's actually, in the last 2 years, he's more economical than Andile. What I was trying to show is that in the last couple of years, Andile's economy with the ball, that is his strength. His strength is his ball, has gone upwards. It's gone in the wrong direction. I'm really quite concerned with Andile at the moment. I just want to add something. In Ireland, when George Dockwell came into the side, when he made his debut, when he played for Ireland, he played as primarily a spinner. Then, at the beginning of this year, he lost his contract because he wasn't producing the numbers, lost his Cricket Ireland contract. They said to him, go back and score runs, and you'll come back into the side. He went away. He averaged 100 in the recent IP 50 domestic competition in Ireland. and you saw the runs that he scored in the game against us. I think something similar needs to happen to Andile. We need to see more runs from him. So
I have a problem with that. With that, because I think structurally he's being hindered. At the Dolphins, they don't bat him higher than 8. Even in their 4-day competition, they don't bat him higher than 7. He should be batting in the top 6, just like how we've been wanting Van Mulder to bat in the top 6 for the Lions, and he struggled to do that because the Lions was quite stacked. That, for me, is something that Mark Boucher needs to try and get either A, Andile out of the Dolphins if they don't want to do it, or B, the Dolphins do it. So I think for me, that's the question. Chris, I'm going to ask you about your schoolmate, Van Mulder.
Okay.
Jagannath on YouTube asked, why can't he be asked to bat at 7 in this? Why can't Van Mulder be brought in as a number 7?
I think he's definitely more of the conversation than Chris Morris is. Obviously, our ODI side's in a very different position to our T20 side. I get the reasoning for bringing Morris back to the T20 side. He's exactly what we need there, and we're in win now mode there. Whereas I think the ODI side, there's room to build, and I don't know where Chris Morris, the sort of state that he's going to be in 2023. I think you need to focus especially on Andile and Vian, and then Dwayne Pretorius is also still young. I guess he's not nearly as young as those two, but he's definitely going to be around come 2023. Vian, it's interesting exactly how the selectors seem to decide who's a white ball all-rounder, who's a red ball all-rounder, who's there for the T20s. Vian seems right now like he's favored in the T20s and the Test, which is a weird sort of specialist to me. It's sort of where David Milan was a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think it was just also the fact that Andile hasn't played in a while, because obviously Vian was brought into the squad because of the fact that Dwayne failed his. Dwayne isn't with the squad because obviously he contracted the virus. Gents, let's quickly do the birthday game, then we'll get back to our normal programming. So this time for the birthday game, we've only got 2 sets of birthday guys who have birthdays this week, and they are, as we go and do that, the first one is Ryan Rickelton and Darryn Dupavillon. Who is older between the two? Ryan Rickelton obviously made his debut hasn't played for the Proteas, but he was close to it. And earlier this year, Darryn Dupavillon having played ODIs for the Proteas. So, Chris, who's older between these two?
I don't want to give away too much. I obviously know how old Rickelton is just because you went to school with me. And I know Dupavillon is slightly...
You just killed him because we're going to ask him what he's going to be like. Just give me older. No.
I'm going to say that Dupavillon's older.
Yeah, I was going to say that as well, just high key. Okay. Before Chris said anything about his school.
And Tim,
he could still be wrong. He could be a lot younger than he looks.
Dupavillon. And you guys are both right. Darryn Dupavillon is older by 2 years. He's having his birthday today. So happy birthday to him. Ryan Rickelton was born in 96. He's had his birthday on the 11th. So the next one, and no stories, guys, just give me an answer. Jason Roy and Rudi Second. Tipo, who's older between these two?
Jason Roy, because Second came second.
Chris, your answer?
Reason. I'm going to say Second's older. Rudi Second's older.
And then Tim, who do you think's older?
Second.
Rudi Second. Okay.
Second.
And yeah, so Tim and Chris are correct. Rudi Second is actually older. Rudi Second, born in 1989 on July the 17th, so his birthday is this weekend. And Jason Roy was born in 1990, so he is 6 months older than me, which is pretty awesome and pretty depressing at the same time. So thanks for playing the quick birthday game, guys. And it looks like Tim and Chris are the winners this week. They get nothing, but you can look out for your prize in the mail if it ever gets to you with the South African Post Office. But if you want to advertise the South African Post Office, we're here, by the way. Next up, so now let's look at the preview of that final game. So obviously now there's only one team that can win this series, and that's Ireland. What do you guys want to happen, and what do you think will happen? And so I'm going to go through squad selections for whatever you guys like. What do you guys want to see, and what do you think you will see? So Chris, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, I was just going to ask another question very related to that. If you guys see, if you're Themba Bavuma and you win the toss tomorrow, are you fielding again, or are you going to bat like often the bigger sides traditionally do? Do you want to get the monkey off your back of the last game? Or do you want to just set a big total and show that that's something you can do?
Ooh. Tempo, what do you think?
If I were Themba Bavuma, I'd probably bowl again. I think there's a deliberate effort to work on chasing because our chasing just hasn't been good for years. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I've seen stats of our chasing being very poor.
Yeah, when we score 300, it's in the first innings. We set 300. Yeah. We don't chase 300s.
Yeah, so I think there's been effort by the South Africans to sort of target areas where we've been struggling. So I'm thinking that we're probably going to have a bowl again and see if we could get that monkey off our back.
Okay, Tim. If he wins the toss, what do you think Themba's going to do?
I think Themba will bowl.
I want him to bat because I don't want to lose this game. I want to blow Ireland out the water. And let me just go into what I'm expecting. So I hope they bat first. I hope Quinton de Kock plays. And this is straight out of the Mark Barchi playbook. I need to win. I play my best 11. I hope they don't play David Miller, but I think that they will. And I also hope that Lungi Ngidi gets around. How do you drop a guy who was struggling for form and finally found it in that no result and then drop him again? I know they're going to try and mix and match, but because they lost, Kagiso's not going to get rest. Yeah. And I'd love for Kagiso to get rest, but I know that's not going to happen. But I know South Africa's going to win the toss. We're going to bowl first. We're going to find ourselves in a bit of a hole, 250 probably, because this time they're going to actually make an effort in those final 10 overs. And then somehow, somewhere, the run chase is just going to derail. I don't know where it's going to happen, but
is this what you want to happen, Umpo?
No, this is what I think will happen.
Sorry, it changed from want to expect. Yeah.
Yes.
Real quick. Bro.
Yes. So what I'm going to see, what we're probably going to see tomorrow, is the run chase derail somewhere, and then hopefully Miller time comes through, because we know David Miller's going to play tomorrow. So.
Oh man.
So, what do you think? What are you expecting tomorrow?
So obviously, I'm expecting us to field our best team. I'm expecting Quinton de Kock, Janneman Milan to open, Themba Bavuma to follow with Rassie van der Dussen, and then at 5 probably David Miller. Kesh has been doing pretty well. The spinners have been doing pretty well. What I would have liked to see is the pace pairings of Nokia and Ngidi, and then we sort of get that threatening 3 rotating. And in terms of the batting, I guess what I'd like to see in the batting is changing gears at the right time and also not losing wickets in clumps. I'm going to keep saying that I want to do that. I'm not just gonna say like just throw or just be okay with us collapsing, but I just don't want 2 wickets to fall in succession. I didn't like Janneman Milan and Rassie van der Dussen falling literally in the same over or within an over. That was terrible. So those are the things that I want us to target at the batting. And then with the bowling, I want to see us continue to try Yorkers. I don't mind us getting smashed if we're like trying Yorkers, if we're trying the wide, slower ball. I want to see us trying and executing the right game plan. So that's what I want to see. Brave bowling.
Tim, what would you like to see? I hope there's a Lazard Williams somewhere there, because I think we've forgotten about it.
I think this whole tour, both the West Indies and Ireland, we've missed an opportunity to pick somebody like Lazard Williams at some stage. And I think Mulder should have played more. I would love Mulder to play tomorrow. He won't, but I would really like him to play tomorrow. But I think we're going to go in with the side that Chipple picked. I think we're going to find a way to win. We're going to find a way to win.
And by the way, it's sunny tomorrow, so Ireland's going to come with all their spinners. They're going to bring them all for you guys, for all of us.
So keen.
We're going to find a way to win, and then next week we'll go, how do we win that?
That'll be next week Tuesday when we come back. Chris, what do you want to see tomorrow? What do you think is going to happen?
So almost the foil of what Seppo was saying. He was saying us not losing 2 wickets in an over. I want to see us capitalizing on when we do take wickets, because we didn't take any wickets in clumps. There was a partnership for every wicket for Ireland. I'm ready to see 2 bowlers who do seem to take things personally, Kagiso Rabada and Anrich Nortje, really dig their teeth into the Irish side, especially in the first 10 overs. And hopefully we have them 3 down at the end of the power play, and we think we can think of that game as a one-off.
But how many wickets are we going to have them at the end of the power play? How many will we see tomorrow?
How many we'll see? I'll put it. You can. Yeah, people can. Anyone who's watching this, I welcome you to quote tweet me. I just need the engagement. But 3 wickets by the end of the power play, hopefully.
So you're saying 3. I'm saying 1. I'm saying 1. Because Ireland's plan, and this is why I love, because you could see Ireland's plan. Their plan is, we're not playing anything outside the off stump for the first 10 overs. Forget about it.
What about
we are
Sterling?
Going to...
Sterling tried to split,
No, he did. Yes, Tim?
No, I was just going to say, Sterling gets out too early.
Like Sterling like went for those shots and he got dropped. I just want us. Actually, I forgot to mention. I want us to just like do better in the field. Yes, please. They owe us. They owe us some good fielding. I want to see dives. I want to see what Aiden Markram did for redemption. That like 6 saving catch drop thing. That type of energy. Yeah, that's what I want to see in the field.
That was insane. Yes, Tim?
One last thing. I'd like us to go for less than 50 in the death, please. Less than 50 in the last,
There's not even going to be a death.
There's no death. These guys we're boiling them out for 150. That's what's happening tomorrow. But because I know Mark Parks is the luckiest man alive, even if he lost tomorrow, he still have a job. That man has a job. That man
he's not been doing as badly as people are. He's been doing fine, and I think he's doing fine.
Wait, he's only won. Okay, so now it's 4 of the last 13 series.
This is after taking over the team that got bullied in the 2018 World Cup, and then also there's CSA scandal after 2019 World Cup. CSA scandal after CSA scandal. This man's back's against the wall. He produced something beautiful in the West Indies. I back this man. Man.
Yes, the Titans coming through there, whereas the rest of us are like, that's fun. But Temple, so tomorrow, yes, I just want to chat about the guys who haven't gotten game time and the mental side of it all. Obviously, because we've got the social justice and nation building hearings going, and guys are telling us how the mental aspect has affected them by going on tour and being promised game time and not being promised game time. And when I was watching, I think it was Aaron Pangiso, I was hoping that Lazard Williams wasn't going to be one of those guys. And when I saw the starting 11, I kind of felt that, Lazard. Like, because he's gone on tour, he hasn't played, he's been on tour with the test team, the ODI team, and the T20 team, so he didn't get to go home after the tests. And yes, obviously Sisanda got injured, and that's fine, and that kind of obviously pushed him up. But Tim, what do you think? What's going through Lazard's head at this point in time?
Talk to me.
Yes, Tim. Yes.
Yeah, sorry. Well, the important thing with all of this is communication. As we have seen with the hearings, everything is about communication. If he has been told, listen, you're not going to play, but we want you here, you're going to be in the nets, the time is coming, and it is genuine, and it's going to come during our home summer. That's when you're going to play. You're just going to get that's fine. But everything is about communication. So it's about what he has been told. If he's been told you're definitely going to play in the West Indies, he doesn't play, then that's obviously a problem. So I don't know what he's been told. Everything is about communication. Everything. And so however how he feels is based on what he has been told. That's
Tips, obviously with him watching with him watching this team bowling get into form, must have been hard. Probably.
Yeah, must have been tough. Sitting on the sidelines watching Lungi get thrashed. You're getting that grin that you shouldn't be having on your face. He's probably gonna fall just now. Communication is the key, as Tim was saying. You don't want to be set up with false expectations. And what I've seen, in terms of communication with some of the other players, I saw Carl Verreynne had an interview that was aired, and he said that he knew his role. So I'm hoping that he's not the only one that knows his role, and that we'll see Lazard Williams in the future. And now just thinking of all the opportunities this guy deserved, and how we haven't seen any of him throughout West Indies or Ireland. You'd hope to see him in the next game, but it's a difficult situation because you have to balance giving opportunities with the good of the team. So maybe he would be the right thing, and it would be great if Mark Boucher would give him the opportunity. But I'm not sure. This is why I'm glad I'm not the coach. I'm very glad I'm not the coach.
But you can be their spokesperson.
One day. Remember me.
Chris, in the press conference, Timber said that he is now effectively fed up with how some of the bowlers were bowling. And he then said, obviously, if you're not going to do the job, you're not going to step up. So, if I'm Lazard, I'm like, dude, you're speaking my language. I'm there. I can do this. But chances are he's probably not going to play.
Yeah, I guess tomorrow, I'd imagine that the coaching staff has seen it as a must-win game, and we're going to go to our tried and tested players. But there's every chance that he plays in the T20 series. I think we're a lot more confident with where our T20 side is, and there is more room for experimentation. That's the compound factor that a winning team is able to experiment more. You have faith in your guys. Not every game is must-win. And I think we back ourselves a lot more in the T20s than we do in the ODIs. Hopefully, Lazard plays in one or two of those games.
Yeah, no, I hope so. So, guys, to close out the show, we're going to just have the full quota quiz. I will have the music next week. I'm busy trying to scroll through my archives to find the songs. But this week, I've decided to just have 4 questions. I'm going to ask everyone the same question. You guys are going to give me an answer, just like the birthday game. No big speeches so people can clean off of other people. And also
come on, why are you doing me like this?
No, but but here's the thing, Temper, you can pick the same answer as someone else. That's the great thing.
Yeah, but I'm picking favorites.
Okay, so we're gonna start. I'm not gonna ask you guys to pick a number. I'm just gonna put down the first one. So the first question is, how many ODIs did it take for Ireland to beat South Africa?
Ooh, interesting one.
Starting with Tim at the top.
So it's Ireland against South Africa.
Yes. How many ODIs did it take?
Okay. 6.
6. Temple, what's your answer?
Can I ask for clarity? Are you saying all ODIs, including the ones that were rained out, and you're saying the amount of ODIs played? Are you saying the ODI, the number of the ODI that we played? Oh,
no,
okay.
So ODIs between South Africa and Ireland, how many chances did Ireland have to beat South Africa?
Before the last one on Tuesday?
No, including that one. So,
okay, sharp.
And the answer?
4.
4. Okay. and then
I'm
Chris.
going to ask a more painful question. We're just talking men's ODIs, right?
Yes.
That is a good question to
7.
ask, Chris.
7. And the correct answer is our resident statistician, Chris, with 7. It took Ireland 7 chances to beat South Africa. That was the 7th ODI. So
that's
yeah.
y'all old spree.
All Chris reads crick info like I do.
Yeah, I can go because I've been doing stats for this, so I know that we played 5 ODIs against them before.
Wait, you're gonna give the answer to the next question. Chris, you're gonna give the answer to the next question.
You see, next question is: if Ireland win the last match, the one tomorrow, what position will they go up to in the ICC Cricket World Cup Super League table? Tempo, your answer?
5th.
Tim?
Can we say 5 as well?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah. I think it's 5 as well. 5 or 6. Go 5.
Tables have
I think that's the right sort of ballpark, and I'll keep it interesting, and I'll say 6, so we're not all saying the same thing.
Okay. Currently, Ireland. So you get 10 points for a win. So currently, Ireland are in 5th position.
Oh, okay.
They have 30 points.
No, weird if they go down after winning it.
It is. Yeah,
I think I'm out of this, fam.
They have 35 points. So the question is, are the teams above them 10 points, more than 10 points away to keep you, Tim and Tempo, in the game? And unfortunately not. If Ireland win this one, they go to 3rd. They go behind, what's that other country? Australia, and they go above Australia and Pakistan, and they go behind Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and our friends England, because they've won.
Aren't India ranked like 9th?
It's basically how many teams have played ODIs since the league has started.
It's
not truly representative of the best ODIs.
But it would make a very great story for Ireland to be we're top 3 in ODI cricket. So that's the fun part about it. Third question. This one's a doozy. How many dot balls were bowled in the second ODI match across both teams?
Why do you keep giving us these questions?
This is my biggest.
What is this?
I'm assuming we're going closest to the pin on this one, and it doesn't.
No, I'm going to give you leeway 5 either side.
Okay.
5 balls either side. Is this across the whole game?
I'll give you 10 either side. Across the entire game, how many dot balls were bowled?
Yo, you're disrespecting my brain, Umpo. Wow. How many dot balls were bowled?
Guys, give me... This is 45. Something... 45. Okay.
So my guess was much higher than that.
Yes.
I was going to go like 190.
190 and? Tempo?
Yo, I'm sitting... Oh. Because there's so many dot balls. Oh man, 79. 79.
That sounded so painful.
You guys are way off. Way off.
Who's you guys?
Now listen to this. All of you.
260, 300.
300 dot balls. 50 overs of dot balls were bowled in that second ODI match. South Africa,
every second ball.
Ireland in their innings 151. South Africa in their innings 149. That is one of the reasons why I'm like, this team doesn't have a plan. They don't even know how to rotate strike. So that's just ridiculous. 50 overs of dot balls. It must have been a very boring game.
Do you know what the average is generally? Do we know if that's good or bad?
Yeah,
it's not a stat.
Average amount of balls. Yeah. What's the average amount of dot balls in an inning?
I don't know what the average amount, Chris. That's probably for you, but it looks quite a lot.
I'll have a look.
You can't have half your innings.
Every second ball, 3 dot balls and over. It sounds like it could be about where the run rate is.
But you're not scoring 290, 300 with 150 dot balls.
Well, you're literally scoring 291 with 150 dot balls.
Yeah, no, true. But it was just a stat that just popped out. Okay, last one. This one should be easy for Chris if he knows. How many countries have South Africa and Ireland played each other in ODIs? So I want the countries.
Interesting. Can I ask one question? For this, Northern Ireland and Republic of Ireland, two different countries, or are we treating it as Ireland?
Oh, let's treat it as let's treat it as Ireland.
Okay, how many like countries that play cricket? So the West Indies is the West Indies, right? So it's not like...
Yeah, I was about to ask, what about
what I'm saying I'm saying the location. Yeah, so West Indies will count as one, but it's like the location. So they've played each other in quite a few. So what's the number?
Am I allowed to go back to that page that I was looking at?
Why am I the first person to be asked?
Okay, we'll start with Tim.
Yeah, with Tim. Someone else now. I had my chance.
I'll say 6 again.
6.
Simple. Okay, sorry.
Oh, Chris, go Chris.
Go Chris, yeah.
It's 4 or 5. I'm gonna go 4.
7.
Okay. So
that's how you answer a question, guys.
If we split Ireland and Northern Ireland as 2 countries, Tim would be right.
Yeah.
But we don't.
But if we consider them as one, it's 5. Don't. So they played in Guyana in the 2011 when we were in the West Indies.
2007.
2007 World Cup.
Yeah, 2007.
Yes. They played in Belfast in Northern Ireland. They played in Calcutta in India in the 2011 World Cup. They played in the Caribbean in Canberra. I'm looking at my own handwriting. They played in Benoni in South Africa, and they've now played in the Republic of Ireland in Dublin. So it is 6. But Tim, I'll give you that one just for fun. Well done for getting 6 right.
Just for fun.
Yeah, but okay, guys. Final words before we go. Yeah, do you wanna? Yeah, any final words before we go?
Let Curtis Camphor bat Ireland, please.
Yes. We don't want the thanks for capping award.
He showed great match awareness with the run-outs on a no ball, but yeah, obviously they're not going to let him bowl just yet. At least let him bat. Don't have Market batting ahead of him, no matter how many 6s he hits.
Yeah. Tips, any final words?
If you guys can help with organizations that need funding in the areas that have been looted, go find out some of those places and give us a helping hand. I'd really appreciate that's
Sure. Okay. And Tim,
don't I look like a dickhead?
I know. We all like
moral high
ground.
I've
been living in an area where where they were looting and like Tim was now stealing the thunder. Tim, any final words?
Play Mulder.
Play Mulder. Yes.
Oh.
My final words are, Mark, if you're listening to this, play Lazard. Just go. Be brave. Just be brave. But anyway, to everyone else, remember we've got cricket tomorrow with the 3rd ODI on Friday, the 16th of July, 11:45. So please do join us then on 1WSR.com. Also the One World Sports Radio platform. We've also got T20s on Monday, Thursday, and next week Saturday, 5 p.m. South African Standard Time. So please do join us. You've got the usual guys who are all around here on this podcast bringing you those games. On top of that, remember, you can interact with us. Most importantly, please do like the video and subscribe on YouTube. We need your support. Your support has been greatly appreciated. Thank you very much, gents. Thank you very much to everyone who's watched and listened to this podcast. Remember, join us tomorrow, 11:45 for the first ball of that game. And outside of that, enjoy the cricket. Stay safe wherever you are in the world. And we'll see you again back in our usual slot on Tuesday for another episode of the Full Quota Podcast. And by then, I hope South Africa will have leveled the series. Thank you.
Cheers.